Okay. All right. We are live. Man, it's so good to see Edwardsville Nation on episode 12 on today's Ed Talk. Oh my gosh. And this fun fact is going to be the first Ed Talk where we are on YouTube. So you'll be able to check the recording on YouTube, share it with your friends and family. Oh, the new year is coming with some blessings. And today with me, we have Mark and Jordan to talk about the synergy between drivers and planners and how we could work together to get the drivers more money, you guys more money, and also help the company at the same time. And it's a beautiful thing. So I'm going to jump right into it. Jordan, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been with Swift? How long have you been with the Edwardsville Nation family? Um, Maybe some fun stuff too. Go for it.
My name's Jordan Mosier. I'm the planning leader here in Edwardsville, Kansas. I've been in the chair almost about a year now. I've been with Swift going on 5 years. Started off running the Express and jumped over to planning last year. So pretty
Okay.
much what we do. We just
I
manage the planning team, get you guys assigned to loads, and try to cover all of our company's commitments to our customers.
I remember the Express. It's like a jigsaw puzzle every day, and it's kind of like what you do now. You must really like puzzles, because that's every day. I was like, okay, what? I'm putting this in this lane. All right, there we go. And then the next day was like put in this lane, and then if it broke apart, you had to put it back all together again. So, you must
Yes,
have really
sir.
liked it because you stuck with it. Well, um, tell us, Jordan. Today is all about how we could work together. So, in your experience, how how can we as a team be able to take on more of the short loads that drivers don't really want by working within their hours of confines, and at the same time make it so that it makes sense for the driver? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I would say that every load is important. Uh, Driver safety is our top priority, though. Never accept a load if you are too tired to run it or it's unsafe to do so. Start off by saying that. But that being said, we still have commitments we need to service with our customers. A lot of the short loads that we see, a lot of the T calls that we're trying to get drivers to help us out on. Not only can you get extra revenue added to your truck, you can get extra money in your pocket. It helps us service the customers, which generates additional loads and more miles for you guys. Uh, your driver leaders are also able to pay you guys additional money to cover the short haul load. So you're not actually going to be losing anything. You gain money. On average, you make about $75 extra for doing a short load, whether it's just a drop or whatever it may be. But I would say that anytime that you see a gap in your hours, if you have a load that's going to deliver at noon and your next load doesn't pick up until 4 or 5 or 6, reach out to the planning team and see if they have a short load you can cover to utilize your hours. If your clock's already running, let's make the most out of it and let's get more money in your pocket and more money for Swift.
I remember you saying something about those 1 mile loads in Springfield that paid Swift like quite a bit of money for just a 1 mile load, but like drivers are like, they see that 1 mile load pop up on their pre-plan and they're like, I don't want to do this. So um, tell us about a little bit some of the challenges that you see when it comes to these types of plans that you'd like to educate Edwardsville Nation, especially the drivers.
Well, when you see the short loads, a lot of them do have additional money on there. We are able to pay you additional pay in order to get those covered. It's never a matter of you're only going to get paid for 1 mile or we're not trying to give you short loads. We have the ability, and your driver leaders have the ability to pay you extra pay on any load as long as there's money in there to do it. Which the short loads, those are our biggest service concern. Is they're so hard to get committed. The shorter lanes are hard to get committed, but more often than not, there's enough money on there that we can make things right by the driver. We're always gonna do what's right for the driver. Uh, if we need to pay extra money to do so, that's what we'll do.
And
Um, Something you really need to stay in contact with the planning team as well as your driver leader to ensure that you guys are made whole every day. But if we send you a load, we need it covered. Load acceptance, good PTAs. I mean, everything kind of plays into one another.
And just how hard is it for someone like you or someone from your planning team to cover a 1 mile load out of like Springfield? Let's use that as the example.
It can be pretty difficult. I know
Pretty
my planning
difficult, yeah.
team is reaching out by phone on a lot of our loads that are difficult to get committed because all that we see are, okay, well, it's a 1 mile load and it's a live unload, or any of the other complications that there may be. If you ever have a question, instead of declining a load or ignoring a load, call the planner.
Perfect.
Call your driver leader, and the driver leader is able, like I said, to make that load worth your while. There's no load that we're going to short a driver on. We're always going to do what's right for the driver,
and I have to
while
say, like,
servicing our customers' commitments.
and I have to say, and although I might be a little biased, I think the planners here at Edwardsville are among some of the best planners in the nation for being relatable, for always looking out for the driver. I always routinely see those 5-star voice your choice reviews that I just see it. And I only have one other experience. I'm not going to name the terminal or anything like that, but like I definitely see that vibe. So it doesn't surprise me when you say that your team is being proactive to those drivers. So that actually leads to my next question. Do you have any relationships with drivers? I know Mark's here for a reason, but like, do you have any relationship with the drivers? Is this something that's encouraged? We talk about, as from a driver leader standpoint, we tell the drivers to accept these favors from you guys, in the thought process that, good karma, what you do for others, they'll want to do unto you. So, but what do you think?
Well, what I would say in regards to that, it's the favors really. I would choose different wording for that,
Okay.
because ultimately, as a company, we have a commitment to our customer. We need to move their freight. It's not a favor, it's a load, it's a job, it pays.
Sure.
And that's what we need to do. And we need to do what's right for the company and what's right for the driver. And it's finding that balance. That a lot of times a good relationship between the driver and planners tends to mitigate any delay. So we always encourage the relationship between planning and our driver population, just in order to kind of mitigate all the delays that we have. We don't have to call 7 trucks to get 7 drivers to get one load covered. We end up just calling that one driver that we know is going to help us.
Yeah.
We're able to do more. We're able to stack. We're able to, there's no downside to having a good working relationship with our driving force.
Sure. Now let's talk about one of Swift's finest. Now, you recommended Mark, and I know that means a lot because you're someone that I hold in very high esteem. Like, talk about people who go above and beyond. Like, you're one of them, and you're like, hey, I remember asking you, like, what driver would you like to join you on this call? And you're like, Mark, like right off the bat. So Mark, tell us, for someone in such high praise, who are you? How long have you been driving with Swift? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
This is a good one. Swift hired me back in 1999. They put me through, they put me through school and gave me an opportunity for a career, and I am forever grateful for Swift. I did OTR for them for almost 3 years, and I needed to get off the road to be with my family. They came back and got me a couple of years later and said, "Hey, we got these perfect jobs for you," and they've been very supportive and helpful with me ever since. Even when I was away from the company for a little while, my driver manager would come up and play golf with me up in Iowa. So we kept those relationships. The relationships that you develop and build with your driver leaders and planners, they go beyond just what happens in the office. If you're cool with them, they're really cool with you. So I can't say enough about Swift. They've really over the last 21 years have been there for me every step of the way. And I think it's a great company to work for.
Well, thanks. We do too. So tell me, think about when you were an OTR driver. How
Yeah,
quickly would you jump on the shorter freight? Were you proactive or you were reactive?
I was proactive. I
Really?
was one of those drivers that was like, if he only made 25 cents a mile
I'll
back
do it.
then. So
Oh.
if your wheels weren't turning, you weren't making any money, and it did me no
Sure.
good just to sit there waiting for the next load. I would go up to the window and I would ask, "What do you need done?" Sometimes they'd say, "No, we're good," and other times they'd say, "Yeah, hey, here's something to go do." And I was never disappointed. Some of those loads really were not the best, but they always followed it up with something good. So,
Sure.
I learned early
And
on that, if you take care of them, they'll take care of you.
Boom.
and to piggyback off of that, I can tell you that to
Go
this
for it.
day, if Mark has a area of time where he doesn't have a load, I still get text messages from him, and he'll end up getting a plan at 10 o'clock at night because I know that he's looking for something to do.
And that's
You know,
interesting because
it's
Mark, you're not paid by the mile anymore, are you?
No,
No.
no.
So that speaks a lot.
I want to stay busy.
Yeah.
The busier I am, the faster the night goes.
Right. Okay, so this seems like a no-brainer at this point. Like, but just to highlight it, did you develop any relationships with planners, throughout your career, and more importantly, how did that benefit you? Do you have any stories that kind of go along with that? Obviously, we're here on this call because of one of your relationships, but go ahead.
Oh yeah, no doubt. From the get-go, uh, developing relationships with planners and driver leaders has benefited me probably more than them. So yeah, and when I went out to Sumner, Washington, a great group of people out there. Can't speak highly enough about them out there. Also, they really took care of me for 14 years out there in the heavy haul division, making sure that I was able to do what I needed to do and maintain a living out there. Wherever I've gone, I have had great experiences with Swift and with
Sure.
the office staff. Um, of course, there's always the exception, but by far, Swift has really come through as far as
Well, thanks for all the
helping
love.
me.
We certainly appreciate it. But
I do have an experience. I came off of when I was over the road. I
uh-huh.
came off of Christmas break and visiting family, and I had one quick load that ran me up to near Sacramento and Lathrop area. And I walked into that terminal, and before I even got out of the truck, people were telling me, "Oh, there's no freight. We've been sitting here forever." And I went in to take a shower, and there were people all complaining. There, a whole room full of people just sitting around complaining
Complainers,
that
huh?
there was no freight. And I said, "Okay, well, I got a brother out here. I'll go visit him." And I walked up to the window to get a towel, and I said, "So I hear there's no freight." And that poor guy at the window said, "I got lots of freight. Nobody just wants to run it." And I was thrown back. It's like, you got to be kidding me. I said, "Come on." I said, "I'm going to go get a shower. You pick out what you need, run the most, throw it on my truck. I'll run whatever you need to run." He said, "You got it." So I went out, ran that load. It was only up from Lathrop up to Sacramento, like 90 miles or something. And before I even got done with that, I had another load going up to Seattle, a 3-stopper. Before I got done with those, I was heading out to Montana to pick up a load going out to the East Coast. And those schmucks were still sitting back there at the terminal complaining about no freight. Come on, man, run. You're getting paid to run. And that was my best month ever. I got driver of the the month.
Driver of the month or what? Yeah.
Yeah. I had unbelievable miles. And that was in January, when freight's kind of slow. So just go get it. Go get your loads, drivers. Don't just sit around waiting for it to come to you. Get out there.
Sometimes you
talk
got to
to
take
people.
baby steps to get to the big steps.
Yeah. Yeah. And those guys, they took care of me, you know, they passed it on down. So you got to love it. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, do you have any other final comments, Mark, before I hop back to Jordan and ask him the same? You know, this is your moment, man. This is it. Like, you want to inspire change. This is your voice across all of Edwardsville Nation.
Just be patient with your planners and your driver leaders. They're out there trying to do their job too. And they have a lot of people to take care of. Keep that in perspective and know that, you know, your turn will come and they'll take care of you. As long as you're cool with them, they'll be cool with you. And you're going to have a good time and good experience and make lots of money. And that's why you're there.
Sure. All right, Jordan. Same to you. What's your request, your shout out, your comment, your inspiration to Edwardsville Nation, both the home team and all the drivers out there?
I would just say that the more freight that we cover, the more loads that we service, the better we service our customers, the more money everybody makes, the better everybody does. There is no downside to running freight. If you feel that you're running a short load that you should get a little bit additional pay for, you know, make that phone call before declining it. Make the phone call to the planner, make a phone call to your driver leader and say, hey, this is a short load. What can we do here? You know, there are no dumb questions. And the answer will always be no if you don't ask. So I would say, don't hesitate to pick up the phone. Don't hesitate to use your Mac 10s. Don't hesitate to use your driver leader as a resource in order to be made whole. We're here to help you make money, and you know, anything we can do to help, don't ever hesitate to reach out.
Actually, you brought up something I think is important. Do Mac 10s really work? Like,
Yes.
Really? They do.
Yes.
Oh. Okay, there you have it. Mac 10s actually work. Send them. All right. I forgot to play this on the intro, so we'll have an outro fading into the sunset with our theme song, of course. Seriously, thank you guys for joining us today. Leave a comment in the block if you want to, you know, have some suggestions on any good topics that we'd like us to cover. Give a shout out to Jordan and Mark for this excellent broadcast we had today. Thanks, you guys, for joining. See you around next time. All right, we are off the live stream. Thank you guys for joining. Jordan's like, you know, back to work.
You're still recording. Talk to you later.
All right, see you later. Bye-bye.